In a distant corner of the galaxy, power resides not in a single species, but in the Galactic Council, a vast and bureaucratic entity where decisions are driven by logic, policy, and cold calculation. Its halls echo with debate, but the outcomes are always the same: pragmatism prevails, and compassion is an afterthought. The Council is made up of a variety of species, each prioritizing survival, resources, and their own interests. Empathy, in this collective, is a weakness. Emotions are seen as distractions, and survival is a game of numbers and probabilities. The Council has long enforced a strict non-interference policy. If a species is dying, if a planet is collapsing, it is not the Council's responsibility to interfere. To intervene would set dangerous precedents, potentially drain valuable resources, and create instability. Life and death in the galaxy are seen as processes to be managed, not altered. For the Council, no species is truly significant unless they contribute to the delicate balance of galactic politics and trade. Decisions are made quickly, rationally, and without remorse. It is within this cold framework that the fate of an ancient, forgotten species is sealed. After a cosmic catastrophe devastates a distant planet, a lone child from a long-extinct race is discovered. This species, once proud and powerful, had been thought lost to time. Now, a single child is all that remains, clinging to life on a dying world. The discovery sends ripples through the Council chambers, not of concern or empathy, but of curiosity. Some see it as a historical footnote, others as a minor inconvenience. What use is a child from a species that no longer matters? The Council convenes to discuss the child's fate. Arguments are raised. Helping the child would require resources that could be better used elsewhere. Some members suggest studying the child remotely, but no one seriously considers a rescue. The Council is bound by its own rules, non-interference. After all, if a species cannot survive on its own, it is not the Council's place to alter the course of natural selection. The vote is swift, and the decision is final. The child will be left to die, alone and forgotten, another relic of a bygone era. Protocol must be followed. The galaxy will move on. As the decision is made, the alien species present express little emotion. The insecta representatives, with their hive-like collective mind, argue that interfering with a failing species disrupts the natural order. Their cold, logical approach sees no benefit in saving a single, insignificant life. The reptilian warriors, known for their brutality and honor-bound traditions, agree that the weak should be allowed to perish. To them, this child represents a failure of a race that had already lost its place in the galaxy. The AI civilization, emotionless by design, calculates that assisting the child would have no long-term benefit to the galactic ecosystem. Together, they rationalize their decision, asserting that life, in all its forms, is subject to the same harsh rules. The Council's consensus is to allow the child to die, preserving the natural order of things, avoiding any ripple effect that might disrupt their carefully maintained balance of power. But not all species are so indifferent. Among the Council's members, a small group of humans watches the discussion unfold in silent horror. Though humanity is relatively new to the Council, their presence is felt. Humans have always been viewed with a mix of curiosity and skepticism, their emotional and moral impulses often clashing with the cold logic of the Council. This time is no different. The humans listen as the other species justify abandoning the child, their hearts heavy with the knowledge that they are in the minority. Captain Arya Shepard, a seasoned explorer and diplomat, exchanges a glance with her colleagues. They had hoped the Council might show some semblance of compassion, some willingness to bend their rules for the sake of a life so fragile and innocent. But they are disappointed once again. The logic-driven decision-making process of the Council leaves no room for the empathy humans hold dear. Dr. Jonas Wells, a biologist with a deep respect for life in all its forms, cannot hide his disgust. "They're condemning an innocent child to die," he mutters under his breath. The others nod in agreement. For humans, the decision is not merely one of protocol or resource allocation. It is a question of moral responsibility. To leave a child, any child, to die, goes against everything they believe. The humans' hearts ache with the weight of their dilemma. As the council members file out of the chamber, satisfied with their decision, the humans remain, quietly grappling with what they must do. They know that defying the council would be dangerous. The rules are clear, and breaking them could cost humanity its fragile place within the galaxy's political structure. But the alternative, doing nothing, feels unthinkable. Captain Shepard speaks first, her voice low but firm. We can't let this happen. We have to do something, even if it means going against the council. The others agree, though the weight of the decision hangs heavily on their shoulders. To intervene would be an act of defiance, a risk to their people's standing in the galaxy. But to stand by and allow the child to die would be a betrayal of everything they hold dear. As they leave the chamber, their path becomes clear. The humans will not let the child die. They will act, no matter the cost. Humans have always been driven by something the other species in the galaxy don't fully understand: empathy. To them, life isn't just a statistic or a matter of resources, it's something sacred. Captain Arya Shepard embodies that belief. She's spent her life pushing back against the cold calculus of the galaxy's rulers, and now, faced with the Council's decision to abandon an innocent child, her resolve is unshakable. Beside her is Dr. Jonas Wells, a biologist who has dedicated his career to studying life in all its forms. For Wells, this mission isn't just about saving one child, it's about standing up for the basic principle that life, no matter how small or insignificant it might seem to others, deserves protection. As the council chambers empty, the weight of the situation settles over the human team. The other species have already dismissed the child as a lost cause, an anomaly that doesn't warrant the effort of saving. But to the humans, that kind of thinking is abhorrent. Shepard feels the old fire in her chest. This is what humanity does. They save those who can't save themselves. They refuse to walk away when there's still something they can do. Dr. Wells is quieter, but his conviction is no less strong. If we don't help, no one will, he says, and everyone knows he's right. The plan to defy the council begins to take shape almost immediately. It's reckless, yes, but there's no alternative they can live with. Shepard gathers her team, a group of seasoned explorers and diplomats who've faced the worst the galaxy has to offer. They know this mission won't just be dangerous, it'll put their standing with the council in jeopardy, and possibly their lives. But they've made up their minds. The risks pale in comparison to the moral cost of doing nothing. Every member of the crew knows what's at stake, but none of them waver. The mission will require precision. Their ship, Resolute, has been through its share of battles, patched up more times than anyone can count. It's not the fastest or the sleekest, but it's reliable, and right now, that's what they need. The team gathers intel, poring over scans of the dying planet. They assess the child's condition from a distance, but the data is grim. Time is running out. They'll need to move fast and undetected if they're going to make it. As they prepare, Shepard lays out the plan. They'll fly under the radar, slipping past council patrols to reach the planet's surface. Once there, they'll have to navigate hostile terrain, pull the child from the ruins, and get out before anyone knows they were there. It's not just a rescue mission, it's a stealth operation. Any sign of their presence, and the council will come down on them with everything they've got. The team knows they're walking a razor's edge, but there's no hesitation in their resolve. They've done the impossible before, they'll do it again. Yet, even as the plan solidifies, obstacles loom large. The Council's patrols are unpredictable, making it difficult to chart a clear path. Worse, the space around the planet is treacherous, filled with debris from the cosmic catastrophe that nearly wiped it out. One wrong move, and they could be stranded, or worse, detected. Shepard knows they'll have to think on their feet, adapt to whatever the mission throws at them. There's no room for error. Then there's the matter of trust. Among the crew, whispers of doubt start to surface. One of their own, Lieutenant Carson, has grown increasingly uneasy. His loyalty is torn between his team and the rules he swore to uphold. He fears the consequences of defying the Council, the very real possibility that this mission could lead to their exile, or worse. Carson isn't a bad man, but the pressure of the situation is gnawing at him. He hasn't said anything outright, but Shepard can sense his hesitation. It's a tension that could snap at any moment. The team knows they need to keep him close, keep him focused, because one act of betrayal could doom them all. As the final preparations are made, the reality of what they're about to do sinks in. They aren't just risking their lives, they are risking humanity's already precarious place in the galaxy. Defying the Council is no small act. If they're caught, it could mean the end of humanity's diplomatic relations, or worse, an outright confrontation. And yet, for every doubt, there's an equal measure of determination. Dr. Wells is the one who says it plainly. We can't sit back and let them die, not when we have the power to stop it. His words hit the team hard, reminding them why they're here, why they're risking everything. They know what's at stake, but that knowledge doesn't deter them. If anything, it sharpens their focus. This mission is more than just a rescue, it's a stand. It's humanity's refusal to let the galaxy's cold logic dictate who lives and who dies. The Resolute descends into the atmosphere of the dying planet, its hull groaning under the strain. The landscape below is an expanse of desolation, cracked earth, violent storms swirling in the distance, and radiation levels spiking across their sensors. Every part of the mission screams danger, but Captain Arya Shepard remains focused. The team braces as turbulence tosses the ship, unpredictable winds and gravitational distortions making the descent feel like a battle. Their instruments flicker under the strain, but they manage to touch down on the planet's barren surface. As the engines power down, an eerie silence blankets the ship. Outside, the planet is a graveyard of destruction, once vibrant, now nearly dead. The team suits up, ready for the harsh environment outside. When the hatch opens, they're greeted by a hostile landscape that feels like it's on the edge of collapse. The planet is still suffering from the aftereffects of the cosmic catastrophe that nearly wiped it out. Storms loom on the horizon, and the ground feels unstable underfoot. As they venture out, they encounter gravitational anomalies, strange pockets where the planet's own gravity warps unpredictably, making even walking a challenge. The site where the child is located lies within the ruins of a once great city, now buried under dust and decay. But the planet holds other dangers as well. Ancient security drones, remnants from a forgotten era, suddenly activate as the team approaches. They swoop down with lethal precision, forcing the humans into a defensive scramble. The drones aren't the only challenge. As they push deeper into the ruins, the terrain becomes more treacherous. The ground crumbles beneath their feet, and violent winds threaten to tear apart anything not securely fastened. Worse still, the hostile environment begins to take its toll on the Resolute. The ship's systems falter under the planet's harsh conditions, the exterior plating sizzling under radiation exposure. Dr. Jonas Wells frantically works to keep their life support systems stable while maintaining communication with the crew on the ground. Every second they spend on this planet increases the risk of a catastrophic failure. Captain Shepard leads the charge through the ruins, her team close behind. They navigate crumbling passageways, each step a calculated risk. The ancient city around them is littered with remnants of a long-lost civilization, but there's no time to marvel at the architecture. The security systems still operational in the ruins have adapted to their presence, creating additional hazards. Drones fire warning shots, and automated defense systems come online, forcing the team to think on their feet. Shepard orders the team to split up. One group remains with the ship to ensure it remains operational, while she and a smaller crew push forward to find the child. Time is running out. Shepard knows they're cutting it close. The mission becomes a race against the clock, each second bringing new threats, new challenges. The planet's unpredictable environment continues to complicate things. Sudden quakes, electromagnetic bursts, and debris from orbit crash down intermittently. Yet, the human team presses on, their ingenuity and resilience keeping them alive in the face of overwhelming odds. At last, they find the child. The alien is huddled in the remains of what must have been a shelter, hidden beneath layers of debris. The child's appearance is unlike anything they've ever seen. Its skin shimmers in shades of iridescent blue and green, almost translucent, and its eyes, large and dark, speak of pain and fear. The child is barely alive, clinging to the last threads of consciousness. Its breathing is shallow, and its small frame shivers as if the weight of the planet's death is pressing down on it. Captain Shepard pauses, taking in the sight. The image burns into her mind, a life on the brink, innocent and fragile. For a moment, all the danger, all the risk, falls away. She kneels beside the child, gently lifting it into her arms. It's so small, so light, but it's still alive. Shepard's heart aches with the enormity of the situation. This child, abandoned by an entire galaxy, represents more than just a single life. It's a symbol of everything the Council refuses to acknowledge. The child opens its eyes, blinking weakly at Shepard, who murmurs softly to it, offering reassurance. They've come this far, and she'll be damned if she lets anything stop them now. The extraction begins, but just as they're about to make their way back, the worst happens. Their ship's presence has been detected. Council patrol ships are now inbound, alerted by the planet's ancient systems. The human team scrambles, racing against the clock to reach the Resolute. They can't afford a direct confrontation. Their vessel is no match for the Council's advanced warships. As they dash through the ruins with the child in tow, the planet itself seems to turn against them. More debris rains down from the unstable orbit, and the wind whips violently through the decaying structures. Back on board the Resolute, the crew initiates a frantic launch sequence. The engines roar to life, straining against the planet's gravity, and they take off just as Council patrols descend through the atmosphere. With the child secured in the medbay, Shepard and her team face a new challenge, evading the Council's patrol ships. The chase is on. The patrols pursue them through a deadly maze of space debris, remnants of the planetary destruction. The Resolute weaves through the wreckage, dodging massive chunks of metal and rock, its hull shaking from the strain. The ship takes hits, alarms blare, sparks fly, but the crew holds steady. The Council ships are fast and relentless, but the human crew's creativity and resourcefulness keep them one step ahead. Dr. Wells, working furiously at the controls, reroutes power from non-essential systems to boost their engines just enough to stay out of range. The chase reaches its climax as the Resolute dives through a particularly dense debris field, the Council ships hot on their tail. It's a high-stakes gamble. One wrong move, and they'll be torn apart. But Shepard's calm, decisive orders guide the crew through the chaos. With a final burst of speed, the Resolute breaks free from the debris, the Council ships momentarily losing track of them in the confusion. They've made it. Battered but triumphant, they soar into open space, the child safe aboard. Against all odds, they've succeeded. The Resolute returns to the edge of human territory, the alien child still alive, but the triumph of their mission is short-lived. Word of their defiance quickly reaches the Galactic Council. The Council, ever swift to enforce its laws, demands immediate answers. The humans knew this was coming. The moment they decided to save the child, they were crossing a line that could never be uncrossed. A formal tribunal is called, and Captain Shepard, along with her crew, is summoned to answer for their actions. Inside the Council chambers, the atmosphere is tense. The tribunal begins with cold formality, the Council members laying out the charges against humanity, violation of the non-interference policy, reckless endangerment, and defiance of galactic law. The insective leader, with its sharp, chittering voice, condemns the humans for risking the fragile balance of the galaxy for a single life. The AI civilization delivers a calculated rebuke, arguing that humans have introduced chaos into a system designed to maintain order. Even the reptilian warriors, normally indifferent, echo the sentiment, accusing the humans of undermining the Council's authority. But Captain Shepard and her crew refuse to be cowed. Standing before the Council, Shepard speaks plainly, without regret. They had broken the law, yes, but laws that abandon the innocent in their time of need are laws not worth following. She challenges the Council's detachment, pointing out the hypocrisy of their cold logic. The humans argue that empathy is not weakness, but strength, and that any civilization that turns its back on life has already lost something fundamental. They speak not just for themselves, but for the child they saved, the child who would have been left to die in silence, forgotten by the galaxy. The Council members listen, unmoved by emotion, but Shepard's words resonate with some in the audience. It's not just about the humans' defiance anymore, It's about the larger question of what kind of galaxy they want to live in. As the humans make their case, a flicker of doubt passes through the ranks of the Council. Some alien species, long silent in these matters, begin to reconsider their own stances on the rigidity of galactic law. The tribunal may have begun with the intent to punish, but the humans' defense is stirring up questions the Council never intended to address. Meanwhile, back on the Resolute, the alien child is stabilizing. Thanks to human medical technology and the care of Dr. Jonas Wells, the child's condition has improved. Though still frail, it shows signs of recovery, its once weak, shivering body now steadier, its eyes brighter. Wells monitors the child closely, marveling at its resilience. The sight of the child slowly regaining strength is a reminder of what they fought for. In saving the child, they didn't just preserve a life, they preserved hope. The child's very survival raises questions across the galaxy, drawing the attention of scientists and scholars who previously dismissed its species as extinct or irrelevant. Captain Shepard spends time with the child, a bond quietly forming between them. The child, still too weak to speak, watches her with large, curious eyes. Shepard feels a deep connection. It's not just a mission anymore, not just a moral stand. The child represents something larger, a symbol of the future they're fighting for. There's a quiet understanding that the child might stay with humanity for the foreseeable future, perhaps even growing up among them, learning from the very species that saved it from death. As the tribunal reaches its conclusion, the Council issues its final judgment. There are threats of sanctions, of punishment for the humans' defiance. But even in the face of these consequences, humanity refuses to apologize. Captain Shepard delivers a final, defiant speech, one that echoes through the Council chambers. She speaks of the value of life, not just human life, but all life, and the responsibility that comes with being part of a galactic community. If the Council cannot see the importance of compassion, then it is humanity's duty to remind them. Shepard's words are not just a defense of their actions, but a challenge to the Council's very way of thinking. The speech creates ripples. Some of the Council members shift uncomfortably in their seats. A few of the more progressive alien species begin to speak out, questioning the Council's harsh stance. These cracks in the Council's unity might seem small now, but they represent the beginning of something larger, a growing movement for change. The humans have made their stand, and in doing so, they've sparked a larger conversation about the role of empathy and morality in the galaxy's governance. In the end, the humans return to their ship, unsure of what the future holds. They've defied the most powerful institution in the galaxy, and there will be consequences. But there's a quiet sense of victory in their hearts. They've done what they set out to do, they saved the child, and in doing so, they proved that there is more to life than cold logic and rigid laws. The child, now safely aboard the Resolute, is more than just a survivor, it is a symbol of humanity's defiance, a reminder that compassion can triumph, even in the face of overwhelming odds. As the crew prepares for whatever comes next, there's a sense of hope that wasn't there before. Humanity, though small in number and still seen as a minority in the Council, has made its mark. They've shown that they are willing to stand up for what's right, no matter the cost. The alien child, now a living testament to their actions, stays with them, a beacon of the future they're fighting to create. In the cold, indifferent galaxy, humanity's resilience and empathy shine brightly, a small light in the vast darkness, but one that refuses to be extinguished.